Hello and welcome to our weekly IG Live. Today I'm excited to be talking to a good friend of mine, Amanda, about her new book. You may know her as Miss Panda Chinese, and she is a big advocate for playful learning. Hello. And helping kids learn new language, minority language, in really fun and playful ways. So we're going to be talking to her about bilingualism, how to encourage kids to learn. Hello. And of course about her new book. Welcome.
Hey,
So good.
so happy to be here. Thank you.
It is so good to talk to you. You have been part of Multicultural Kid Blogs, I think, pretty much since the beginning, and such a big supporter over the years. You've done so much for us. So I'm excited to be sharing about your new book. I was showing it a little bit, but why don't we back up a little bit? I think a lot of people joining probably already know you, but maybe you could just introduce yourself a bit and tell us about how did you get interested in teaching Chinese?
Oh, that's a great question. I first started getting interested, actually not just an opportunity when I was an international student here in the United States. A friend came to me and asked me, say, would you like to teach a class on the weekend to teach overseas American-born Chinese students Mandarin? And I had my certificate before I came to the States, so I said, okay, I can give it a try. I think at that time I was single, I didn't have kids, but I saw the struggle between the parents and then the children, because Mandarin Chinese is their heritage language, and their parents urgently feel the need. They need to pass on that heritage language to their children. But the children have a little bit of resistance because, well, everybody around them are speaking English. So only during the time every Saturday, they go there and they learn Mandarin. So the need is not as strong as what they have expected, So that's where it started. And then when I have my own kids, I definitely feel the urgent need. I need to pass on my heritage language to my kids. And that's where it all started. I needed a community. I was living overseas, not in the States, and no English, no Mandarin, maybe a little bit more English, but that's where it all started. So I said, well, since my maiden name is Xiong, which means bear, and I think Panda will be a good name for me for little kids. That's where it all started, Miss Panda Chinese.
I love that. I didn't know the story behind where you got Miss Panda Chinese from. That's great.
Yes, that's actually my maiden name. My mother is actually originally from Sichuan province. That's where all the pandas are from. So yeah, so that's where Miss Panda is from, actually.
That's perfect. And I think that image is something that I've come to associate with you, and it's just so fun and sweet and playful, which goes along with everything you do, because I think you really do a lot to make language learning fun and playful, because like you said, especially if you're working with heritage learners, there can be a lot of resistance. There can be kind of a struggle between parents and children or grandparents about learning the language. And so you really do a lot to make it fun. Why is that so important?
Well, I think everyone wants to have fun. Adults want to have fun. If we're having a great conversation, we want to continue the conversation. We're having a party, we're dancing, we want to do that. If we are doing that, if adults need that, I think little kids actually need that even more, because playing is their work, actually, like Maria Montessori said. It's their job to play, because playing is actually learning. If you observe little kids, when they are, my little niece, when she was about 1 or 2 years old, she would be pulling the drawers open and close, open all the cabinet doors and all that. And then people was like, what are you doing? My own kids, when they were little, they're doing the same thing. They're like little scientists. They were actually studying, how does this work? Why I can do this? So for them, it's all play. My daughter used to find a pot and sit in there. Seriously, a big pot for the soup. She's sitting there. The first time I saw it, I thought it was hilarious. And she was bending a wooden spoon. I was like, this is perfect dinner. Great. So thing, we think it's a little bit, actually it's all playing for them. So make learning playful and fun for them. It's a way to help them to learn. It's not like you say, hey, remember the list of words or repeat after me. I think what we can do is, there's a one kindergarten teacher, I talked with her and she said something very profound. And I think I really want to share this. She said, I realized that my child actually just needs a mother, not a teacher. But a lot of times when we're in the process, being playful, we kind of lose it a little bit because we have our timeline. We cannot be in present because we have dinner to cook in 30 minutes and people are coming home. So being present is so challenging sometimes. But if we can be in the moment to be with the kids and just flow and play with them, you will see something very different. And I feel like that's what I could do a little bit to maybe support the parents and provide them some ideas so they can use the book or the resources and to share that and to spread fun and playfulness with their kids.
I love that. And that actually gets to one thing that I was curious about, because you have so many years of experience as a teacher, but also as a parent. And I should mention that it was actually your daughter that did these such beautiful little illustrations. I love these. They're so cute. I think the tired one is probably my favorite. That just looks like he's so tired. But so is the way that you approach teaching language different as a parent versus as a teacher, or what do you see as the difference there?
Yeah, it's hard. I have to say, I once was like the one, we really need to have this schedule. We have a curriculum. We need to follow everything. We need to do this 3 lessons a week so everything can be on time and can be, productive. But I was not in the corporate job anymore. When I was in the corporate job, it's different because I have supervisors here, Burbank, all different places I need to work with. But then I realized one day, like, actually I'm working with my kids. The timeline is do it every day. Do it with a good intention and paying attention to them. So if they want to come to me, say, Mom, can you read me a story? I think that's a success. I think we need tiny successes, tiny steps to help us to do that. But when I was acting like a teacher at home, it was not very successful. It was a failed tiger mom move. We might all have that kind of moments because we're so anxious. But as we are anxious, the kids don't understand. Why are you so anxious about? Why learning this language is so important? But when I was homeschooling my son when he was 7th grade, because we just came back from South America, I realized one thing, because I can flow with his pace. Our science class can last for 3 hours. Then we don't do Chinese at home or at a table. We'll just take a walk and we'll just talk in Mandarin. And then one day I said, well, what do you want to do for Chinese? And he's like, I don't know. I actually don't want to do it. So I said, oh, how about I do an interview with you? So actually, if you go on YouTube, Miss Panda Chinese.
I remember that, yes.
You can probably watch that video. And that was not really, no preparation, no rehearsal. And that's just a day we decided, okay, this is our Chinese lesson for the day. I interviewed him, I asked him questions, and he answered back and then shared a lot of things. And when I said, so how do you like Chinese? He said, it's hard. I said, yeah. But what do you like about it? Oh, when I went back to Taiwan, people gave me presents because they look at me, you speak Chinese? Oh, no, this is a candy. Or they went to another place, people gave him compliment because he can communicate and he was able to connect with the grandparents. I think that is enormous. So that interview holds a very special place in my heart. I published it. When I asked him, he said, sure. And he told everybody at the end, he said, go, go, go. 加油, and in Chinese, it literally means add oil, which means you have the fuel to go further. It's not a push, but I think it's more like walking together. So I've been learning on this journey with my kids, and in my very lucky, a lot of wonderful students from preschool to kindergarten and high school. And I think it's such a journey, such an adventure. I am very honored to be able to work with these kids and to see how I can help them. And then the number one thing that helps the most is to be their mentor, to be their guide, and to share the fun things with them. And I want to say, we all need to create this power of wanting, because we know if a child wants to learn something, you cannot stop them. But we can give them a lot of words if they don't want to learn. We can give them a lot of sentences, a lot of stories we don't want to hear or listen to. Then there's no use. There's no progress. But if they want to learn, if they want to come to you, I want a story. Can you tell me more about what happened the last time? That's very powerful. And that's what I think a lot of parents and teachers and all of us who are working together to help our kids, no matter it's a heritage language or a second language or a new world language, I think that's what we really want to do, and to help the kids and guide them on this journey and help them to elevate each time.
I love that. And it goes back to what you were talking about being playful and making it fun so that they really want to. And I should mention, for those who aren't familiar with your work, you have so many different kinds of resources. I mean, you have several books that are out now. You also have audio. And I love it because you're so creative with how you connect all these things. Of course, you have your blog. I don't know if you want to just kind of mention briefly all the different things that you have. And I should say that even when you get a picture book, it also, if I can pull it up really quickly, it also comes with, first it has all the different, the Chinese characters and the transliterated in the English, but it also has where you can listen to the audio. So even if you are not a native speaker yourself and you want to use this, but you need help with the pronunciation, you can just go and hear it. And then, of course, here's I love this, the treasure box of expressions. So do you want to talk a little bit about like all the kind of different things, and also how you went about, maybe specifically talk about your book, because I do want to talk about that because it's just come out, how this can help with teaching a language, and why you chose to write a book about feelings. Why was that important to give children that vocabulary in both languages?
Oh, thank you, Liana. Well, this is a book I co-authored with my daughter, who's graduating tomorrow from high school. She started this about 3-4 years ago, actually. So it's a slow process. And she illustrated all the little buns, the expressions, the emotions. It's a project. It's a project that, really brings her joy, brings me joy. And then we talk about food and things like that. Why this book? Taiwan is where I was born and I grew up. And my parents are from mainland China. So I am on both sides, because the culture, the history, and all that, it's just where I grew up with. It is so important for me to share that with my kids. So during the numerous trips back to Taiwan, they start to see little things they really love. And there's one restaurant and one street food both of my kids love. That is baozi, which is steamed buns, and with fillings like a red bean paste, a sweet red bean paste in there. So the reason why we came up with this idea is late night we were talking about the food we like in Taiwan. What do you want to eat in our next trip? And then things just pop out. So we said, wow, maybe that will be a very good topic. What do you think? And if you think about that, it's also a lot of big feelings and emotions we experience when we are learning a new language or doing bilingual parenting. So this is where the concept of the book's from. And then the emotions, because think about this, if you eat something so delicious, a bun is a steamed them. Like I said, I told a story at the end about how my mom made them when I was little, and then we'll all sit there and eat it. You hold this steaming, warm, hot, fluffy bun. You had a bite. That's a beautiful feeling, just like empanadas, for example. If you eat empanadas when we were in South America, my son still talk about, I like empanada de viente. Okay, so it's like a fluffy with cheese inside. I think it brings you a lot of emotions, happy feelings. Well, if something you ate not so good, you will have a different kind of a feeling. So that really kind of signifies the story. So everything, are you curious? Are you sad? Are you tired? So how do we do that? So connect the food, because you touch it, you smell it, and you taste it, and the texture, it's like you use all your 5 senses. Sometimes you can pat it, pat. You can probably hear it. So you use all your 5 senses when you're learning about one thing. So this book, The Little Bun, a bilingual storybook of feelings, is to help kids and parents and caregivers to use the book to help the kids to learn the emotion and feeling words. And every day they might be able to use it. And I use a lot of repetitive sentences so they can feel so comfortable using it. I think when kids want to talk about their feelings or how they feel, I think we connect better. I think when kids were little, you see the kids would teach them baby sign language. Why? Because we know it's very hard if you cannot talk. If you're very hungry, you just cry, or you can do this. I want milk. So that's a way to communicate. So as they are growing older, they can use words to tell us, oh, I feel good. I don't feel good. I feel sad. I feel very happy. I feel very excited. I think those are the words we can model for our kids. Oh, when mommy is excited, mommy jumps up and down. Oh, then I bet your little one will probably jump up and down with you and use the words. So that's the reason why I wrote this book. I think it's so important, not just learning a language. I think we're building, strengthen our bonding with our kids, strengthen our relationship with the kids. I think there's a quote I remember from a psychiatrist or psychologist, said no significant learning can occur without a significant relationship. And not just at home, but also at school and the people we encounter. If we think of the people, they impact us, I think a lot of times we feel we probably have a very significant relationship with them. That's why they help us to grow. And this is where Little Bun is from.
I love that, because there's so many layers to this book, which on the surface, it just seems like a very simple book, right? Because it's aimed towards, I mean, you could use it at different ages, but you're starting from when they're very young, but you've got the cultural aspect to it. You have the relation and bonding, a connection to family, to heritage, but also talking about feelings. You've got the repetitive, the grammar, the structure, but also, like you mentioned, it can be so interactive because you can be acting it. Like you said, it actually goes through what Little Bun, what it's like. What does it look like when Little Bun is happy? He sings and he laughs and sings loudly. And so you can be doing this and have it be interactive with your child, which is not only fun for them, but it also, like you said, promotes bonding. I mean, I just feel like this really shows that all the years of experience you have with teaching, that you've packed so much into something that seems so simple, and yet there's so much here. So I love that, because, and I feel like that's true of all of your resources. You know, there's a lot out there, but I feel like yours really comes from a place of really understanding what's going to help, not just with the language learning short-term, teaching vocabulary, but also long-term, like you said, with the bonding, which then motivates them to learn more because they have the relationship. I mean, there's so much here, and yet you just think you're just getting a simple picture book to teach them some words about feelings. But yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah. At the end of the story, I asked them, so how do you feel? What do you do? I think we need to give kids a lead. So a lot of times I will use little toys. For example, if your kids don't want to talk about, how about the little pig? Little pig, how do you feel today? What do you do when you're sad? Oh, what do you do when you're happy? Oink, oink, oink. So little things can really help kids to learn. There's so many things you can develop from a little book. Not sometimes just to read a story, but use something you have already and to show them or ask them, how does mom feel? Oh, angry. How does mom feel? Oh, you're happy. So if we give them the expressions and the emotions and play with them, I think they will feel a little more connecting with the feelings they have inside. Yeah.
Yeah, connecting to their own feelings. And also, like you said, I mean, it makes so much sense because when we're talking not about learning languages, but just in general, like you said, we teach those baby signs when they're very little. We talk about social emotional learning and teach them those words in our own, you know, whatever the community language, and in most cases, in our case, English. That of course we should be doing that in their second language or in their heritage language, so that they can express themselves and feel more empowered. Because it seems like if they're able to really say how they feel, that would be very empowering, and like you said, also very connecting, you know, because they feel like they communicate. And it seems like then it's just kind of like this little engine that keeps going when they communicate, and then they get that feedback or those compliments, or they know that people understand them, then that motivates them even more.
Yeah, I think that's a fun part. And you mentioned about why we want to diversify the resources. So kids are drawn to new things, the shiny new things. So we can always stick with one track, but we also can add more things to them. So it's more interesting. Just like children's picture books, children's books. We want to diversify that. We have diverse kids books. So kids can expand their world and then to understand what people see with different things. When we talk about social emotional learning, I think we're not only just talking about words, but we also can help them to observe others. Oh, what do your friends feel? Oh, why your friend is crying? Oh, you've been so kind to help your friend because he fell down. You went to ask him, are you okay? I think a lot of times little things, empathy, caring, actually they're all from the little actions we do and they do. We model for the kids, and the older kids are model for the little kids, and that's how things are built up. And I think that's the power of books and the power of stories. There are so many. I'm so grateful to see there are more and more bilingual books out, because not every family, they are the native speakers, or Mandarin or Spanish or French or Japanese are their first languages, and they can use that comfortably. But maybe a lot of parents, I see their efforts of learning the language to guide their kids to learn the new language. That's just amazing. And we do need to have resources, or more resources, for these parents and parents who are teachers. You know, we need to connect the school learning with the home learning. So minority language, it sounds like, oh, not a lot of people talking or speaking that language. Or like my son used to say, Mom, you're the only person who speaks Chinese. I was like, oops, got caught. And that's true at home. So let me do something to help you. Let me bring the language program to the school. How about that? Right? And then suddenly he turned around. He saw me on campus. All the little kids were around me singing Chinese songs. I told them, and he said, Mom, tell them I'm your son. I can speak Chinese too. Kids also need a community, and the community they are most familiar with. And if these kids or all their friends can learn a little bit about them, their heritage culture, their heritage language, or the new language they're learning, you're creating a different kind of community, a different kind of feeling for our children.
Yes, and helping them to be proud of what they're learning. Like you said, if they think that you as the parent are the only person that speaks this language, one, they're not going to be motivated, and also they might feel kind of self-conscious about speaking it. But if they see everybody enjoys it, even if it's just a little bit, which I want to mention, I mean, obviously this book is especially for people who are learning Chinese or maybe need to reinforce the Chinese, but I like it for my kids too, who don't speak Chinese, because I think it's good for them to see, like you said, even if it's just a little bit, they can learn a few languages. They can see how other languages are written. They can be more aware that there are other languages and how people and express them. They can have fun listening to the audio and kind of trying to try it out, because like you said, having that diversity comes in all different forms. And you've got the culture in here and also the language, because they're so tied together, that I think that's great for everybody, just to have that exposure to those differences.
Yeah, thank you. We'll talk about resources. So my website, I talk about Miss Amanda Chinese, and then I think listening is so important. So later on, I started the Playful Chinese podcast. So with something very simple at the beginning, and then kind of gradually I move into more Mandarin in there. Because if we can provide opportunities for the kids to learn, and then my book, First Mandarin Sounds, and then a Little Bun, then kids will feel their environment is filled with interesting things around them they can use on the commute, listen to the podcast, on the commute, to listen to the streaming album, or they can read the book. And then when they're back home, maybe can use the digital downloads and to use some play sheets, and then to play with word games and things like that. So the culture is what we create. So what's the family culture? What's the culture in the classroom? The family culture, if being bilingual or being multilingual is a family lifestyle, then it becomes a part of them. And that's the things what we're building, because my kids are older. My son is now in college, and he last year he went to college. One day he called. He said, "I joined a club." I said, "Oh, what club did you join?" "I joined the Korean American Club." I said, "Oh, huh?" He said, "Yes." I said, "Did you find another, maybe your Chinese heritage, culture kind of a club?" He said, "Oh, I didn't see them." I said, but Mom, the guy told me they have fried rice." So I something so simple, right? Food. And something really connects with them, because every time they eat that food, they probably feel it's home. So for me, Little Bun feels like home. When I have buns, when I hold it, when I see them, in the supermarket here, in the, for example, the World Market here, it's just beautiful. And I hope this can help other kids, all the readers, or parents. I ask the question, what's a special food for you? What do you feel when you eat that food? How do you make them? What ingredients do you need? So Little Bun is not a story just for kids to have Chinese heritage or they're learning Chinese. I would like to see parents or teachers using Little Bun as a guide to guide them, to have all the students in the class or your friends in your neighborhood can share something so special to them, something they love to eat, and then expand their world, and they can connect with more friends and more people around them.
Love that. And for those of you who haven't checked it out, I encourage you to look. This is her latest book, but as you mentioned, she has so many resources for learning Mandarin or just learning about the culture. I know you do a lot about different holidays and so on. So be sure to go check it out. You can go to the link in her bio. And thank you so much, Amanda, for joining us. It's always so great to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me. Yeah, have a great day and great week.
Thanks. You too. Bye, everybody.
Bye.